Hi, I'm Peggy, and we are here talking about weight and lymphedema. And I have the honor of having a guest with me, Dr. Krystle Zuniga. She is a registered dietitian and has a whole lot of really good information. So I'm excited to talk to you. Thank you so much. I know it's evening for me, but it's like night for you. So thanks for staying up and making this video with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So just before we started recording, I was telling you a little bit about my passions and my soapboxes and my pet peeves. So I just want, I know that people with lymphedema like myself, I've had lymphedema for 24 years this month. Actually, May is my lymphedema anniversary. It's a terrible birthday to celebrate, but
Mm,
anyway, but we struggle with weight. Can you tell us why weight and lymphedema are always such a struggle? Can you kind of shed some science on that?
As far as maybe how weight could be contributing to lymphedema.
Weight does contribute to lymphedema, but also I feel like a lot of times people with lymphedema really struggle to get rid of the weight.
mm,
So I feel it's kind of a catch 22. Like you'll feel better if you lose weight, but it's hard to lose weight.
Yeah, right. When there's a physical activity component piece, and if lymphedema is in areas that makes it more difficult to move and be as physically active, that can definitely be a contributor as well. And knowing that the lymphatic system plays a role in nutrients circulating and feeling well, getting these nutrients to the right places. Yeah, there's definitely that it's bi-directional relationship.
Right. And I'm a woman of a certain age, and I'm also finding that your lymphatic system also moves hormones. So that's been a fun thing to start learning about my body right now, and some
Mhm.
other things. So your lymphatic system is, I mean, it's the highway. It does a lot. It's moving everything.
Mhm.
So how does weight contribute to lymphedema? What can you
Mhm.
tell us about that?
Yeah, right. So we know that fat cells used to believe to just be a storage site for extra energy, but now learning more about how fat cells are actually releasing hormones, releasing inflammatory factors as well. And so that excess body fat can contribute to more inflammation, and inflammation can lead again to some damage and fibrosis in areas too, making vessels less elastic. Um, to speak. So we know that the extra adipose can put more strain on that lymphatic system, more compression on that lymphatic system as well. But I like to be clear here, I'm not like shaming people of weight is what caused your lymphedema, just knowing that sometimes that carrying that excess body weight can contribute to potentially worsening that lymphedema. And
No,
interestingly,
yeah,
physically.
I appreciate the disclaimer there, um, because I'm sure that many people with lymphedema like myself have been to a doctor and the doctor says, "Oh, well, you're just overweight." It's like,
Mm.
"Well, yeah, and I have lymphedema. So can we go to a therapist? What do you think?" So it is a very, very frustrating situation to be in. I
Yeah.
personally am of the belief that doctors tend to use overweight as a crutch to not do their job and not find the root problem. But again, that's Peggy on her soapbox. So,
No, I mean, I will jump on that soapbox with you about how we're learning about the dangers of weight stigma. It's real, it's
yeah,
researched, and that can keep individuals from seeking out healthcare because they're afraid that someone will make a comment about their weight or dismiss their problem, saying it is contributing, it's because of weight. And so things aren't getting addressed because, yeah, weight could be one potential contributing factor, but it's not the only thing.
exactly. About 2 years, 3 years ago, I had a really bad lymphedema flare up, and I went to the doctor, and he said it was a new doctor. I'd moved, so I didn't have my normal doctor, And I keep my lymphedema really under control. I spend a lot of time with self-care. I eat very clean. I'm very conscious of everything. Everything I do in my life is around like, how is this going to affect my lymphedema? So, and I wear my compression garments daily, which are all really important things. So I went to this new doctor and I explained, I've had lymphedema for several years. I'm having a flare up. I need you to send me to a therapist. And he does this like, I see a middle-aged woman that's overweight. I don't see a woman with lymphedema. Why don't you just lose weight? I think you'll be fine. And so it was, I literally got up and left. He's like, where are you going? And I was like, no.
Oh
And I had to
my
find
gosh.
another doctor. But, you know, these are things that I expected, 15 years ago, but I feel like we have so much more awareness now that I was shocked to have a doctor tell me that lymphedema wasn't a real thing and that I was just fat. So it's, it's tough. It's really tough. So if you're listening and you've had that experience or you're having that experience, believe me, it's real and we get it. We're not shaming you, but at the same time, you know, there's got to be a way to find the balance to be able to maintain a healthy weight and manage your lymphedema. I get really worried when I'm on lymphedema sites and I see people talking about fad diets. I get worried about fad diets, period, because I have young adult children, and so it's in their face all the time. So I'm
Yeah.
always concerned about these fad diets and this and that, and should I do keto for lymphedema? Should I do this? Should I do and people that follow me know that I found something that worked for me. I ate plant-based for many years and that worked for me. I think you need to be really intuitive to your body because not everybody's body's the same. We all have other health issues. So I think it's important to find a dietitian that is willing to work with you. As a dietitian, I'm hoping you're to back up that statement and and run with it.
Absolutely. Yes to advocating for dietitians because of developing that personalized approach. Because, like what you said, you found something that works for you. And the key is that it was sustainable,
Mhm.
helping you meet your nutrient needs. It makes you feel better. It's affordable. It's flexible. It's what makes you feel good. And I think people feel like when a diet doesn't work, it's because they did something wrong. Like, no, this is like doing the keto diet. It's like, that's not an appropriate diet for you. And why is it the failure of you and not that this is a fad diet that is not meeting your nutritional needs? And that these fad diets are often missing or cutting out important food groups where you're getting essential vitamins and minerals. So that can contribute to issues in the body. They're not flexible. So then people aren't able to maintain these diet approaches. And so they might lose weight really quickly, aren't able to keep it up. Weight comes back, and there's research even that the weight regained is more than what was lost initially. And it leads to this weight cycling, which is not good for health. Yep, this weight cycling, not good for metabolic health, and also not good for that mental health.
Exactly.
Now, like all the different fad diets that have been on, now all of those rules are internalized. Like, okay, carbs are bad, but fat is bad, and gluten's bad, and dairy. Like every time you're eating, you're stressing out because you have all these rules about what's good or bad, and this history of weight cycling and developing an unhealthy relationship with food, and that can contribute to overeating or binging.
I want to add something to that because I ate plant-based for 10 years because it worked for me. And I always said, I'm not vegan. I don't eat this way because of a moral issue or anything else. I eat this way because it works for my body. I don't have like, I grew up in the Midwest. Like I don't have an issue with, eating meat. So anyway, just recently I switched and now I'm eating meat. And I thought I didn't have any issues, but after 10 years of not eating meat, I was telling Merrick, I was like, it's weird the emotional struggles that I'm having right now eating meat, not just the transition physically, getting my body used to eating flesh again, but the emotional, like I'm a big believer in food is not bad or good, it's just food. I thought that, like, in my mind with my mouth, I said that, but I realized I had like some emotional things to work through when I started eating meat again. I really felt like I was bad or I was a failure. I did something, and it's a real thing. And I think that the more people are on crazy diets, the more they get that this is bad, this is good. Now, I will stick to diet sodas are bad. That's not food. When I'm saying like food, I'm actually talking about food. I still really say I feel that people do better if they stay away from processed foods,
Mhm.
but I don't think it should be labeled good or bad. I think that we should recognize that this is our human body and we need to nourish it and care for it and love it and take care of it in a way that's appropriate for our human body. And
Yeah.
I think the thing that I kind of mentioned to you before, and I don't think people are aware of this, and that is when you have gut health issues, it affects your weight, it affects every part of you. And when you're up and down on fad diets, your digestive system, your gut's all over the place. Or
Mhm.
even worse, you're having cellulitis infections and they're putting on antibiotics, or you're taking
Mm.
pain medicines. All these things mess with your gut health,
Mhm.
makes it next to impossible to lose weight when you're doing all these other things. So, you know,
Yeah.
again, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, right, our intestine is an organ, and our large, like the lymphatic system is going through there as well. And so if there is a delayed motility or a disrupted gut bacteria because of antibiotics, or you're undernourishing yourself because of doing intermittent fasting and not eating for long periods of time, or going on high fat diets that are even really high protein, that are really difficult for the gut to digest, you're not doing it any favors. That's why you might be thinking, well, my neighbor lost all this weight on this diet. Why am I not? Because you're a different person with a different health when they do.
Exactly.
And so not just forcing it through, well, keto works and this works for them, recognizing what feels good for you. And yeah, that intestinal health piece is really important, because if that gut is not doing well, it's not moving regularly, it's not helping absorb nutrients well. Yeah, being on any type of diet is going to be really difficult. And so focusing on trying to nourish that intestine with good high fiber foods, nutrient dense foods, trying to limit foods that are really difficult to digest. And that varies on the individual, right? We can't just keep forcing different diets on the body. If it's not working, it doesn't feel right, you got to let it go.
Right.
Right. And take the time to think through, like what you were talking about, working through like what feels good for me, instead of labeling this is a good food, this is a bad food. This feels good for me, this way of eating feels good for me and nourishing for me. And having these food rules and the food police in your head every time you're eating. And we also know that stress impacts gut motility, right? If you've ever been nervous about a presentation, how you feel that in your gut, or stressed out about a situation, you feel that in your gut. So stressing out about food while you're trying to eat food, not doing yourself favors.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think I just can't emphasize enough, like, how important it is to eat intuitively. When I say that, I don't want you to think like, well, I'm craving a chocolate, because chocolate is my that's my kryptonite. Like
Mhm.
I've literally like I have a really good quality high, dark chocolate that I love and I need. But as far as just eating, chocolate, well, I'm craving this, so that's what's good for my body. Well, a lot of times when your gut health is off, you're craving sugar and you're craving these things that aren't good for you. So that's also kind of, a trick. Like, yes, you have to listen to your body, but think about why your body's asking for these. Is it because your body's needing healing in that area? Or is it, actually like, hey, you need some more vitamins that they're, if you're craving broccoli, you're probably low on something that broccoli
Mhm.
has. Like, but if you're craving
Yeah.
ice cream, it's could be that your gut is, your gut bacteria are like, feed me, feed me.
Mm. Yeah, or more of also thinking about I get people telling me like, I'm always craving sugar and I'm addicted to sugar. You're not addicted to sugar. Your body is looking for nutrition. And you know that these sugary foods provide pleasure, and they're a quick source of nutrition. So especially people thinking like they have a lot of cravings at night and eating a lot at night, instead of shaming the night eating, thinking back on what happened during the day. Are you someone who skips breakfast, works through lunch, picks up a quick fast food meal or running here and there? And then finally you sit down and your body's like, thank you, I'm hungry. I've been asking for food all day. And so at that time, it's that hunger, compensatory hunger is kicking in. So instead of framing it as like, I'm bad, I'm a sugar addict, more like maybe you're not fueling yourself well throughout the day. And then when you're finally slowing down, all those hunger signals are coming in and you're just looking for whatever's available.
Right.
Right.
So what tips, I know we just got done saying there's no blanket statement how, what works for you, but what tips would you give people with lymphedema as far as controlling their weight and, staying on track? What tips would you give?
For kind of weight management piece too is, yes, we're going to talk about the diet piece, but with another disclaimer here about that weight management also includes like stress management, adequate sleep, getting a proper medications if you've got any hormone imbalances, right? Hypothyroid, whatever else is going on, physical activity. Because the nutrition is an important tool in weight management, but it is not the only tool. Okay, with that. So really it's about trying to find foods that feel nourishing and going to be satisfying for you. People hate the message of calories in, calories out. It's like, really, if you're eating more calories than your body is expending, there's going to be weight gain. That's just basic science there. So trying to get foods within the nutritional needs that your body has that are not just providing calories, but also going to provide fiber to help feed those good gut bacteria and stimulate good gut digestion, motility. Foods that are more nutrient dense, so they're also providing vitamins and minerals. The more whole foods that you can get, the better. And that knowing that there's a lot of discussion now about plant-based and plant-forward, that's actually not that new. I think there's a lot of more attention around it. It's like, yeah, that's been our dietary guidelines for a while. Eat more plants. But the message just gets kind of recycled, and here it is again. But the more plants that you can include in your diet, the better. I often get asked, well, is there a particular fruit I should be eating? Or what about this vegetable? I heard this is great. Like, they're all good. They're all good. And so the best fruits and vegetables are the ones that you're going to eat, the ones that you can afford, the ones that you feel comfortable cooking, the ones that are accessible and that you'll enjoy. So you want, again, that foundation of meeting energy needs, not excessive energy needs, getting that from foods that are providing not just calories, but fiber and vitamins and minerals, adequate protein. So the message of moderation seems to get boring for people, and that's where the fad diets come in, but they come and go and come and go. And being in the field of nutrition is kind of just waiting for what's the next thing that's on deck. Like right now, there's some trend about the carnivore diet where people are saying vegetables are bad. Oh, here's a new one. Like, here we are in 2021 telling people don't eat vegetables.
Don't eat vegetables. I am not eating vegetables for a little while, but that's because I'm dealing with another issue. But I still am telling my family, eat your vegetables, because like I said, over 10 years of plant-based, I love them. I miss them. I miss going out and grabbing a piece of fruit off the tree.
Yeah.
Because that's, to me, the easiest thing there is to do. But like I said, I'm doing this little crazy thing for temporary, trying to get some things lined up in my body. But I think that's the key, is that, really finding somebody that's going to go through this journey with you. It's hard to figure this out on your own because there's so many factors that play into it. But I think don't shame. Don't let anybody shame you. You're not a failure. If something didn't work for you, it just simply didn't work for you. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person because keto didn't work for you, or carnivore or plant-based or whatever it is didn't
Mhm.
work for you. It just means that it didn't work for you. So find something that does work for you. I'm lucky. I live in Southern California, so I can literally go for a walk and eat lunch. Like I can pull things off of people's trees as I'm walking through the neighborhood.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
But I know not everybody can do that. Sometimes you have to think about what foods you have access to. It's not just like here, it's, there's food everywhere. And so we're very fortunate. But
Yeah.
I grew up in the Midwest, so I know that's not true for everyone.
Right? Like in the winter in the Midwest, you're not going to get as access to the fresher fruits and vegetables
Right.
anymore. And thinking like too that when you're wanting to make these diet changes, it can feel like you with all these fad diets, it also relays this message like you've got to completely overhaul your life tomorrow. Like read the book, plan your diet. Now you're planning all of your meals and everything's no carb. And it's like, yeah, people burn out. Real behavior change can start in small goals. Like maybe you're not getting any fruits and vegetables in your diet, right? I'm going to have a serving of fruit every day this week and starting there and building up that momentum. Because when you do these diets where you've got to overhaul everything and you can't do it, then you feel like a failure and that doesn't make you motivated to try again.
When you fail at something, that's not the way to motivate to try again.
Feeling, yeah. Mhm.
It's those short, easy wins. Like, hey, I had fresh vegetables today. I had fresh fruit today. I had, just mark on your calendar and check those. Do three things better tomorrow than you did today, and then celebrate those wins. Celebrate it with chocolate.
With a nice chocolate if you need. It's funny. That's exactly the tips I send. Like something old school, checking off on the calendar. Remember when we were kids, we get like
Yeah.
a gold star when we did something. Like our brains like that. We like to feel like we're successful. So again, these diets that don't set you up for success are contributing to you having a negative relationship with food, feeling like you're the failure, feeling like you're the one that's not disciplined enough when really that was a setup for failure from the beginning. And feeling,
Exactly.
mhm,
Exactly.
that you,
And I think the more people realize that they are not their bodies, that their bodies are their best friends, and we should love our bodies and take care of our bodies and say nice things to our bodies, because I would never talk to my friends the way I used to talk to my body. I would never say you are ugly, you are fat, you are stupid, you're yeah, you're horrible. I would never say that to a friend, but that's how I used to talk to my body. And I think once I realized how much my body goes through and how hard my body works just so I can live on this earth, it's kind of made me think about, wow, you're pretty awesome. Like, yeah, you have some stretch marks and you got some little flab here and there, but you're like pretty awesome.
that's awesome. I love that. The practicing the self-compassion piece is huge. When I work with patients again who have had this history of this weight cycling and feeling like they don't even know what to do anymore about, the first practice is how would you talk with a friend that was struggling with their nutrition? Would you be saying the things that you're saying to yourself right now to them? Because that's
Exactly.
not a way, you can't beat your body into submission. Mhm.
And I think when you have lymphedema, you have this body image problem anyway. Like whether you have a huge arm, you have a huge leg, you know, people stare at you, like you already have that. You're already dealing with that. So you don't need to deal with now I'm gaining weight. Now I'm, all these other things. Just really think, wow, my body has lymphedema and it's still keeping me alive and we're still going places. So that was a revelation to me. So I really hope that helps somebody out there. But
Yeah.
I sure appreciate your time. Is there anything before we close? Is there anything else you want to say? Because I know I'm chatty tonight, so I probably cut you off. So is there
No,
anything you want to make sure you say before we go?
no, I love that. Definitely, we're on the same page about practicing the self-compassion piece, the small, realistic goals, and that these fad diets, again, just because your neighbor lost weight on them doesn't mean this is appropriate for you. And knowing that you have an additional thing that you're dealing with, right? The lymphedema, and talking about what can I do to help support my body? What can I help it do to help it do its job better? and coming at the nutrition piece from a place of loving and support. I know that can seem so off to some people right now and so far off in the distance to them. And that takes work to get there. And like you said, you work through this stuff too, but being patient with your body in that. And really, I like to, again, reframe that nutrition is one tool and a part of multiple tools. If making dietary changes right now just is not accessible to you, think about what can I do for my physical activity or my stress or my sleep. All of these things are part of supporting your health.
Sleep is something that we don't talk about enough. And I won't keep you here all night talking about sleep, but I can literally see on the scale, if I get 6 hours of sleep versus if I get 8 hours of sleep, I can literally see, and I can feel it. And people with lymphedema, we need to really let our body rest because it needs that downtime to process stuff. So we really
Yeah.
need our sleep. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. And I was like, and if you're not well rested, then you're more likely to be looking
stress.
for high energy foods, and it all feeds together. And people like look at that scale and just think diet, 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 when there are all these other factors that are going on that also need to be addressed. So don't get this tunnel vision. Think of like, what are things that are making it hard for me to really eat a plant-based diet like I want to? What are some other things I might need to address in my life first, rather than, again, just keep beating down this one diet that's not working out for you?
Yeah. Well, that was so good. I really appreciate your time. I really do. Now, I know I've seen a couple of YouTube videos that you have done. Do you have a YouTube channel, or do you have social media that you want people to follow you out? How can people get a hold of you and follow you and get more advice and maybe even book appointments with you?
Yeah, great. I do offer, yes, one-on-one nutrition counseling. You can find me on Instagram at real.nutrition.science. That's where I'm talking about the real nutrition science, evidence-based resource. Also, if there's anyone here that's a survivor or patient, I'm at Cancer Nutrition HQ, also on Instagram. And I have links in my bio for both of those. I do have a free presentation online about nutrition and lymphedema, if anyone would like to learn more about some of the specifics about diet that don't really have enough time to get into today.
I'll leave all those links in the description below.
Oh, great.
Because we definitely want to make sure people can find you. And I know you have a great social media presence as well. I see you on Instagram and stuff. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your time. And again, for supporting all these individuals that are going through this and sharing your story. It's important.
It's important to know that you're not alone. I often make all these high energy, happy videos, and people are like, yeah, but Peggy, I have it harder than you. And I'm like, no, I just smile on camera. Like, we're all going through the same journey. We're all having struggles. But sometimes it's just really important to know that you're not alone, and that if one person can make it, you can make it too. And remember to love your body and thank your body. And remember that no matter, if you have a big limb or a big tummy or whatever it is, it's still your body and it's beautiful, and love it, live in it, and nourish it.
I love it, live it, and nourish it.
Well, thanks again. And thanks everybody for watching.